What's going on, everybody? It's Cameron Fuller here, back at the BET Experience. And right now, I'm going to check out the panel discussion on crafting compelling narratives. 4 black, dope women going to tell us how to make stories. Let's check it out.
First, coming to the stage, we have Themi Banks. Themi is an award-winning writer, producer, and director, and a few more things as well. Her most recent project as director and executive producer is Young, Wild, Free. But it debuted at Sundance. It was bought by BET from Sundance, and it's starring Sanaa Lathan. Next up, we have Diarra Kilpatrick. She is another of my favorite multi-hyphenate women. She's an Emmy-nominated actress, a writer, and a producer, and a few more things as well. You would have most recently seen her work on the BET Plus original series, Diarra from Detroit. And last, but certainly not least, we have Tressa Smallwood. She is the founder and CEO of Megamind Media, an award-winning television and film producer. Her production company specializes in creating compelling original content for female audiences. She's partnered with BET on so many projects throughout her career, and we'll get into a bunch of those too. Well, I'm gonna start with you, Themi, because your project literally just came out last night. How do you feel?
Good, great. You nervous, anxious, all of it.
Okay, it's getting good reviews online. Like I saw a few. I'm trying to avoid spoilers.
Yeah. Nobody's spoiled it yet, but everyone's like, there's so many twists and turns, but definitely seeing a lot of really positive comments. Like, people love it, so happy about that.
Very happy. What was your process of getting this film made? Like, all I know is debuted at Sundance, and I know there's like a long, meandering round the way story.
Yes, I'll try to keep it as brief and short as possible, but if anyone knows anything about making films, it is a very long process. Some of your favorite films took something like 10 years to make, sometimes 15 years to make, because that's just the nature of film. But for us, we started off actually filming the film in 2020. So our first day of shooting was March 11th, 2020.
Oh.
And you know what happened March 12th, 2020. And so we shot for one day and it was great. And so we didn't actually finish the film until like August 2022. And then I rushed and edited for 2 weeks with my editor, who's also my really good friend from film school. And we sent a 2-week edit to Sundance, which is kind of like unheard of because you want to work on it for like a couple months before you send it to the biggest film festival, right? So we sent a 2-week edit to Sundance and we actually ended up getting it. So,
I love that. I think that's a lesson of like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Like,
yeah.
You know, I did 2 weeks and like I'm sending it anyway and we'll see. All they can say is no. Diarra, what was your process of getting Diarra from Detroit onto BET Plus?
Ooh, so the first thing was, I guess, what they always say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So also during pandemic, I was pregnant and I wrote a pitch for a show that no one was asking for, but me. And once I had my son, I think he was about 5 months, and Kenya Barris, who is the writer, producer, prolific executive producer of Blackish and Grownish, you mentioned, and other things, called and said, I'm moving over to BET Studios. He was like, I'm bringing some writers over there to develop for BET Studios exclusively. Would you like to come? Do you have any ideas? And I was like, yes, I do. I have a whole pitch that I worked on in the pandemic. Diarra from Detroit was the first idea that I pitched, and everybody was really excited about it. Hey, Sydney. And to be honest, it was one of the smoothest development processes that I've ever been a part of. And a lot of people are pretty surprised that it moved really quickly. I remember turning in the pitch pages and they said, if you do this at BET Plus, then we'll give you what's called a script to series deal, which is becoming a little bit more common now, but it wasn't so common at that point. And so I said, sure. And so I never even had to go around to pitch, which is a exhausting process. And I wrote the script, wrote the pilot really quickly. It was something in me that was like, you should go. There was like this urgency for some reason. And I remember saying, They sent me off to script right before Christmas, and I remember saying, I'm gonna turn this pilot in by Valentine's Day. I'll take Christmas off and then write it really quickly. And I turned it in, and then we were in a room by just after the 4th of July, and then we were shooting that next December. So it was really 2 full years from the time I signed my deal to the time the show was out, which is that is not normal. Like she was saying, it's can be a very long, arduous process.
Tressa, I'm going to ask you, before book publishing, I guess it was before book publishing, you were a school teacher?
Yes. I have a very untraditional, way into the industry. I was teaching in 2001. So I know some of y'all in here like, 2001, she was teaching? And I was pregnant, 3 months pregnant. The doctor put me on bed rest and said, hey, you're having trouble with your pregnancy and you need to stay really on bed rest for 6 months. So during that time, I wrote a book. And again, I'm big on, if I don't know how to do it, I'm going to figure it out. So I said, I'm going to write a book. Once again, my family was like, yeah, this girl is crazy. So I started writing this book. It became a bestseller, and I never went back to work. Started my book publishing company. And around 2014, I had roughly 140 books under my label. And that's when producers, studios started trying to buy the rights to my books so that they could turn it into a movie. And once again, I said, well, let me figure this out. So I knew nothing about film and television. And every time I told someone that I was going to adapt one of my books and turn it into a movie, they were like, you don't know how to do that. You've not been to film school. You don't know anybody who can come to the DMV. Why would you do that? And everybody kept trying to tell me to leave. So I shot my very first movie in 2016. It's a book to film adaptation called Secrets from a Novel. And I literally found all of the crew and, I would say the key crew members, and I moved them to DC for 90 days. By 2017, I had a deal with BET. They licensed my very first movie, Secrets. And after that, I said, I like this. I think I want to double down and go back for more. And so now, 7 years later, I have 30 movies in my catalog.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was researching you, the most recent thing I could find, I was impressed with 23. 30 is a whole different number, madame. I love it.
Q&A, these were so good. I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
First, I would like to say congratulations. You guys are queens that are inspiring other women in the film industry. Throughout the whole time that you say you've been shooting a lot of pilots and you always get turned down or none of them get picked up, how did you find the courage to keep going?
I think you just keep believing in yourself and saying, I only need one yes, right? Like, it's a sea of no's, and maybe it's not this project, and maybe it won't be the next one, but I just need one yes. It's true. It's just emotional, They're like, give us your heart and soul, and then they're like, we would, but we already have something like that, or whatever. Yep. And you're like, you don't have nothing like my heart and soul, So I just think if you are meant to do it, all the other doors will kind of be closed to you, and then you'll just pick yourself back up and keep going.
One of the questions that I've had within myself and when I meet other creatives is, what do you think is the future for African Americans having our own distribution?
For me personally, I've spent the last 10 years on making sure that I've been able to get slate deals and set myself up for distribution so that, I'm not a distributor, but at least when I meet, it doesn't matter whether it's a woman. I mean, I do a lot of work with women, so I always tend to say, I meet another sister and I'm like, what's your project? You can't get distribution? I got you. And I'm able to use my distribution channels to make sure that their projects have a platform. However, if we had more of us, because I can't just do this, that can't be my business, but as many people that we can find who are putting themselves in position to be distributors, the more of us can get in. And a lot of times the distribution piece comes with sometimes owning your own content. Sometimes it's just being a person who is in position. So I think that whether it's distribution, whether it's writers, whether it's network executives, when you get in position, you got to put everybody else on. That's the key.